Hello dear students of class 10th, welcome to geography class. I hope all of you are doing well. Students, in this video, I shall start with a new chapter of geography, that is chapter 5th, Minerals and Energy Resources. So this is the chapter that I am going to start in this video. Minerals and Energy Resources. Students, what do you mean by resources? You have already studied about resources in chapter 1, that is resources and development. So I feel that all of you must be aware of resource. What is a resource? What do you mean by a resource? Students, everything that is available in our environment that is used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible and culturally acceptable, is termed as a resource. So as the title says, minerals and energy resources. So students, is mineral a resource? Definitely mineral is a resource. And if I talk about energy, then is energy a resource? Energy is also a very important resource. Now why I am saying that mineral and energy are important resources, this you will be explained in this chapter. I will make you understand that why and how minerals and energy, they are considered as resources. Okay, so students, first let me talk about minerals. Let me tell you that minerals are indispensable part of our lives. That means minerals are very important part, or I would say minerals play an integral role, a very important or essential role in our life. Now, why minerals play a very important role? Because everything that we use, that means from pin to aeroplane to a building, car or anything, whatever we use, they all are made from minerals. See, the railway lines, yes, the railway lines, the paving of the roads, the vehicles like car, bus, bike, the different machineries, different machines, they are manufactured from minerals. So without the use of minerals, our life would not be so smooth. Our life is smooth, our life functions in a smooth manner because of the availability of resources, or cut that line. Our life runs in a smooth manner because of the availability of minerals. So minerals are very important. The availability of minerals is very important in our life. You know, if I talk about the food we eat, the water that we drink, that food, that water also contains minerals. Yes, minerals are very important part of our life. Students, if I talk about the toothpaste that we use, I am sure that I'm sure that all of you are brushing your teeth twice a day, and please, if you are not doing, please make sure that you brush twice a day. So if I talk about the toothpaste that we use, then in that toothpaste also minerals are there. Yes. Students, let me tell you that the toothpaste that you use, it also contains minerals, and it contains minerals like silica, limestone, aluminium oxide, etc., which is used to do cleaning. That means for cleaning purpose these minerals are used. And if I talk about a mineral, that is fluoride, right? And if I talk about a mineral that is fluoride, then that is a mineral that is used to reduce cavity. And sometimes I think you must have observed sparkles in toothpaste, in some toothpaste. So that sparkle in toothpaste, that is from mica. So our life is surrounded with minerals. We cannot be separated, or our life cannot be separated from minerals. So that is why I told you that minerals are indispensable part of our life. And as I told you that the food as I told you that the food we eat, that food also contains minerals. You know, our mineral intake, it is only 0.3%. Yes, the minerals that go inside our body, that is merely 0.3% of the total intake of nutrients. Means whatever nutrients go inside our body, out of those nutrients only 0.3% is minerals, and without this 0.3%, the other 99.7% will be of no use. So we would not be able to utilize 99.7% of food stuff without 0.3% of minerals. So that is why minerals are very important. The food we eat, that contains minerals. The water we drink, that also contains minerals. The toothpaste that we use, that also contains minerals. Means our life is completely surrounded by minerals. Okay. Now, what do you understand by minerals? I have told you that minerals are very important. Now, what are these minerals? Students, minerals are substances that occur naturally on earth. So, we do not make minerals. Human beings cannot make minerals. We can only extract minerals. You know, they are substances that naturally occur on earth. Now students, let me give you a proper definition of minerals. As you can see on the screen, minerals are homogeneous, naturally occurring substance with a definable internal structure. So it is a naturally occurring substance, and I told you it is a homogeneous naturally. Homogeneous means same. So it is a homogeneous naturally occurring substance with a definable internal structure. That means the internal structure of minerals, that means they have a definite internal structure. For example, some minerals, they are very hard, and the hardest mineral is diamond. Yeah, diamond is also a mineral. And some minerals can be very soft, for example talc. Then minerals can be in different states. For example, minerals can be in liquid state, in solid state, or in semi-liquid state also. So they have a definite internal structure, and they vary from place to place or from region to region. Okay, you understood the definition of minerals, that they are naturally occurring substance on earth and they have a definite internal structure. Now students, from where the minerals come, from where do we get minerals, from where do we obtain minerals? Students, we get minerals from rocks. Yes, I think you must have studied in your junior classes also about minerals, about rocks, about ores. So in this chapter also you are going to study about all those topics. So students, we get minerals from rocks. Now what are rocks? See, rocks are combination of homogeneous substances called minerals. So now you will say that there are so many rocks that are found on the ground, but minerals are not there. See, minerals are not found in every rock that is lying here and there. So the rocks that are inside the earth, and minerals are obtained from extraction. Minerals are extracted and then only we get minerals. So actually they are found on rocks, and rocks are the combination of homogeneous substances called minerals. Now students, it is not necessary that one rock will contain only one mineral. No, one rock or one type of rock may contain more than one minerals, and mostly, and let me tell you, majority of rocks, they contain more than one mineral, and they contain minerals in different proportions. Means it is not fixed that only a small proportion will be there. Means the proportions are different in every rock. So I hope till here the points are clear to you. Now students, let me tell you about the formation of minerals. As I told you that some minerals, they are very hard like diamond, and some minerals are very soft like talc. some are in liquid state, some are in solid state, some are in semi-liquid state. So how they form means now I am going to tell you about the formation of minerals. Students, formation of minerals depend upon the physical and chemical conditions. Yes, the physical conditions as well as the chemical conditions, and this results in the hardness, in the softness, the crystal forms that you see, the luster, color and density of a particular mineral. See, the colors are also different. You will find different colors of minerals. They are of different colors. The luster property, that is also different in every type of mineral. Then regarding the state, the hardness, softness, means all these that means the formation of minerals depend on physical and chemical conditions or factors. So I hope that till here points are clear to everybody. Now students, I am going to explain you about two terms which look quite similar, but actually they are not at all similar. They are completely different from the other. The first term is geographer and the second term is geologist. See, many of you, they must be confused between geographer and geologist. You think that they are synonym of each other, but in reality they are not synonym. They are completely different from one another. See, who is a geographer? Who is a geographer? A geographer is a person who studies minerals as a part of Earth's crust for better understanding of landforms. That means the main work of geographer is to study about the landform. That means about the Earth's crust. Now what is crust? The topmost part of the earth or the top layer of the earth is called crust. So the main work of a geographer is to study about earth, is to study about the earth's crust, and he studies about minerals as a part of earth's crust. Because where are minerals formed? They are formed in the rocks. And where are rocks formed? Where are rocks situated? And how are rocks formed? They are formed inside the earth. That means from lava or magma. So they study minerals as a part of Earth's crust, but they do not specifically study about minerals. So this is the work of a geographer. Now let me come to a geologist. What is the work of geologist, or who is a geologist? So geologists, they study the formation of minerals, their age, physical and chemical composition. That means the main work of geologist is to study about minerals. So basically geographers study about the surface of earth, and in which they study about minerals in order to understand the surface of earth, or in order to understand landform in a better way. That means to get a better understanding, they study about minerals. But geologists, the main work of geologists is to study about the formation, about the age, about the nature, about the physical and chemical composition of minerals. So I hope that both these terms are clear to everybody, that it should be really clear in your mind about the work of a geographer and a work of a geologist. So I hope till here I hope that both these terms are clear to everybody. Now students, let's come to the classification of minerals. Now I am going to explain you about the classification of minerals. Students, minerals are classified into three categories, as you can see here. The first category is called metallic minerals. The first one is metallic minerals. The second category is called non-metallic minerals, and the third one is energy minerals. So minerals are classified into three categories. First is metallic minerals, second is non-metallic minerals, and the third one is energy minerals. And if I talk about metallic minerals, then metallic minerals are further subcategorized into three parts. The first is ferrous minerals, the second is non-ferrous minerals, and the third one is precious minerals. I am going to explain you about all the terms. Okay, So let's start with metallic minerals. Now what are metallic minerals? Students, metallic minerals are the minerals which contain one or more metallic elements. A type of mineral that contains one or more metallic elements. They are called as metallic minerals. And as I told you that metallic minerals are classified into three categories. The first one is ferrous minerals, the second one is non-ferrous minerals, and the third one is precious minerals. Now what do you understand by ferrous minerals? Students, ferrous minerals are metallic minerals containing iron. Please remember that ferrous minerals, they are metallic minerals that contain iron. For example, iron ore, manganese, nickel, cobalt, etc. So these are the examples of ferrous minerals. Now let's come to non-ferrous minerals. Now what are non-ferrous? See, ferrous means the minerals containing iron. So non-ferrous means the minerals that do not contain iron. So the minerals, the metallic minerals, please remember that they are also metallic in nature. So the metallic minerals that do not contain iron element refers to non-ferrous minerals, and the examples are copper, lead, tin, bauxite, etc. So these are the examples of non-ferrous minerals. Now we have precious minerals. What are precious minerals? Precious minerals are the metallic minerals of high economic value. That means they are very precious, they are very costly. Means if I talk about economically, then economically they are very costly minerals. Precious means of great value. So they have a great economic value. For example, gold, silver, platinum, these are precious minerals. So students, I hope the classification of metallic minerals is clear to everybody. Now let's move to non-metallic minerals. Now what are non-metallic minerals? So the minerals which do not contain metallic element. The minerals that do not contain metallic elements or element is called non-metallic mineral. For example, mica, salt, potash, marble, granite, sandstone, limestone, etc. So these are the examples of non-metallic minerals. That means they do not contain metallic element. The minerals that do not contain metallic element in them refers to non-metallic minerals. Okay. Now let's come to the last one, that is energy minerals. Now what are energy minerals? They are the sources of energy. See, energy resources or energy minerals, they are used in almost every activity. We require energy in almost every activity. That means we require energy in order to cook, we require energy in order to get light, heat. So they provide us heat, light and every kind of energy. We need energy in order to run our vehicles, right? So, and if I talk about the source of generation, from where they are generated, then energy resources or energy minerals, they are generated from fuel minerals. They are generated from fuel minerals like coal, petroleum, natural gas, electricity and uranium. So they are very important for us because, or I would say that energy resources or energy minerals, they are also an indispensable part of our life. So students, I hope all the points that I have explained in this video are clear to everybody. Now in the next video, I will be explaining you about the mode of occurrence of minerals, that how minerals occur, in which form minerals occur. So till then, thank you so much students and stay safe.